One of the questions I always get asked when it comes to home ownership is, what's the market like? And what I found is that those people who actually take the time to understand how the market is doing are more successful in home ownership or even getting a great deal when they look to purchase a home. Today, what I'm going to do is do a 3-part series where I'm going to walk you through exactly how I assess how the market is doing. It starts off with understanding what's happening, what I call at the macro level, and that's nationwide. What's happening throughout Canada, then coming into Alberta. Then we're going to go into part 2 where we understand what's not only happening in Alberta, but what's happening in Calgary. And as we get a little bit more micro, what we're going to do is drill down in our 3rd video to really understand product type and what's happening with each product. So let's come and check this out. If you have any questions, drop a comment below and enjoy the 3-part series. So let's get started, and what we're going to look at for August 2022, and we're going to start looking a little bit backwards so we can understand what's been happening trends-wise. Let's look at the national housing perspective. And so what we can see is that obviously, what's happening event-wise, and then what's happening within, the realm of specific provinces. Now, from about Q1 of 2021, you start seeing this downward trend. Now, there are little blips where it goes up and then down, but in general, this is a downward trend in sales activity. That doesn't mean that people weren't buying homes. In reality, what was happening is that you could see that there started to be a decrease in the number of homes that were on the market. All right, so you can't actually have sales occur if there aren't homes on the market for people to purchase. And so you started seeing a decrease in supply. Well, when you start seeing a decrease in supply, and if demand stays the same, or as you could see, a tremendous increase in demand, what would end up happening is that pricing is going to go up, and we'll see that a little bit more as we go through this. All right. And as you can kind of see here, you see that the amount of listings came down and then started to pick back up, and it's kind of started to level off here. And that's consistent throughout Canada. And when you look at what market balance looks like, and when you're looking at inventory levels, you see that sharp increase that had happened in, right around when COVID occurred, because there was a tremendous amount of volume that was on the market, but then a complete change in actually what was available. All right. And by the time you've hit July of 2022, nationwide, you're seeing that inventory is starting to increase, and you're hearing that pricing is starting to come down. So that means when inventory is going up and demand stays the same or starts to decrease, you're starting to see that price is also going to start to come down a little bit here. And you can see that the number of homes that were on the market, so this is the gap here. You see that there's not enough homes on the market and people are buying, so your sales to new listing ratio, which means as properties are coming on the market, more of them are selling. And so what you'd anticipate is that pricing will go up, but now you're starting to see that not all those homes are actually selling, and now we have more homes on the market than are actually being sold. And what happens there then is you see your pricing has gone up, but now you're starting to see pricing come down. And that's the reality of life, okay? And so I'm looking at average here, that's the red, but what's important is this home price index. And you can see that the home price index is going up. And although you're seeing the average price going down, you're still seeing that overall your home price index is relatively high. So what you're now seeing right here with this gap is that inexpensive homes are actually selling more and are more of demand. Okay, and the HPI might actually, this is your benchmark price, is what that is. That might actually come down to a lower level, because you can see it kind of flows, and you see it flow with what the average price is. So now here you see a gap right there, and then you'll see it go up, and now you might actually see that the benchmark price will level off and come close to average pricing. But right now what it's showing that throughout Canada, lower priced homes are more in demand. It's not saying that prices have come down, they have, but it's saying that people are actually looking for more cost-effective homes. And this is a trend that you're actually going to start seeing within our local market. If you start looking at benchmark pricing, what you can see here is that when it comes to two-story single-family homes, in general, you're going to always see a greater price on that, because that's the ultimate what people are looking for, is that detached home. And we've built so many two-story homes that this is something that ends up having the highest price within any market in general, okay? But you can see that the majority of each segment, okay, whether it's apartment, row townhouse, two-story, one-story, you're starting to see that they all have throughout Canada seen a price increase. Now they've leveled off and they're starting to come down, so that's something that we're going to have to figure out, okay, and see what's actually happening in Canada, or sorry, in Calgary. So what we want to look at here is absorption rate, and what this tells you here, this is what we call months of inventory, kind of what type of market are we really in. And so what we do is we take the number of active listings that are on the market and we divide that by the number of sales that have occurred in the last 30 days, and that's going to tell you the type of market that you're in. So anytime that number is between 0 to 2, that tells you that you're actually in a seller's market. When it's 2 to 4, you're a bit more of a balanced market. When you're 4 to 6, you're more into a buyer's market. And anything 6 and beyond, you're actually in extreme buyer's market. If you own a home, it's time to sell, because more than likely, you're not going to be able to retain the equity in your home, and this is the best way you possibly can. So when we go into a more of a micro level and we start looking in Alberta, what we're seeing here is that when we look at the different price ranges, you see that there's activity in all ranges. And what you're actually seeing is in August that there's been more activity in higher priced ranges. So if you look at 500 to 599, 6 to 699, 7 and above, you're seeing that there's more activity. Now, why could that be? Does that mean people have more money in Alberta to spend? Possibly. But we also saw a tremendous price increase in Alberta. And so what was once between 5 to 600 might now actually be in this realm of 6 to 700. And so you still see the demand for the larger type of homes or the premium type of homes, and you're just seeing that now they're actually bringing them over into another price segment because we've seen such an increase in home values. As we go into your monthly sales comparison and you look year over year, you can see that there's the 10-year average. And we actually broke that 10-year average, and you're seeing that in detached segment, that there's been quite a bit of activity here. But what's most important, and you always traditionally see this, where you go row townhouse or apartments, there's always going to be more demand for those because they're more attainable homes. And you can see that they've just broken that average. And this is an interesting trend that we're starting to see, especially here in Alberta and within Calgary. And we're going to break that down and see how there's been a tremendous increase in desire for the lower priced homes because they're just more attainable.
All right, so now that you have an understanding of what's happening nationwide and we're looking at that macro perspective, and we start to drill down into what's happening in Alberta. So now what we're going to do is go into part 2 of our video series, and we're going to look at what's happening in Calgary. So sit back, watch it, and of course if you have any questions, let us know.